Have you ever felt like you're the one who always has to get their way? Or maybe you've been told you're a bit too much or too pushy. It can be tough to hear, but sometimes we might be crossing lines without even realizing it. We call this being a boundary pusher. Boundaries are the invisible lines we draw around ourselves to protect our energy, our time, and our emotional well-being. They're what help us feel safe and respected in our relationships. But what happens when we're the ones stepping over those lines? It's not always intentional. Sometimes it comes from a place of excitement, or a deep desire to help, or even just not understanding what the other person needs. Recognizing these patterns in ourselves is the first step toward building healthier, more respectful connections with the people we care about. So, let's explore 5 signs that you might be a boundary pusher. First, you often give unsolicited advice. Do you find yourself jumping in with solutions before someone has even finished explaining their problem? You hear a friend venting about a tough day at work, and your immediate reaction is to say, "Well, you should just quit," or "Here's what you need to do to fix it." While this often comes from a good place, you want to help, you want to solve the problem, it can feel dismissive to the other person. They might not be looking for advice. They might just want someone to listen and validate their feelings. When we offer advice without being asked, we're essentially saying, "I know better than you what you need." It can take away the other person's power to figure things out for themselves. Research in communication studies shows that active listening, which involves empathy and withholding judgment, builds stronger connections than immediately offering solutions. A person who feels heard is more likely to solve their own problem or ask for advice when they are truly ready. Think about it from their perspective. They came to you for comfort and support, a safe space to just be with their feelings. Instead, they got a to-do list. It can make them feel unheard and misunderstood. A better approach is to simply listen. You can say things like, "That sounds really difficult," or "I'm here for you if you need to talk." If you have an idea, you can ask, "Are you looking for advice? Or would you just like me to listen?" This simple question shows immense respect for their boundaries. Second, you have a hard time accepting no as a final answer. Does a no from someone else feel like a challenge to you? A starting point for negotiation? Maybe you ask a friend to hang out. They say they're busy, and you immediately follow up with, "What about tomorrow?" Or next week? "What if we just do something quick?" Or perhaps you ask for a favor, and when they decline, you try to persuade them, explain why they should do it, or even make them feel guilty for saying no. This is a classic sign of boundary pushing. When someone says no, they are setting a clear limit. They are communicating their capacity, their needs, or their desires at that moment. Trying to change their no into a yes is a direct violation of that boundary. It sends the message that their needs are less important than what you want. A surprising fact is that people who have trouble setting their own boundaries often have trouble respecting the boundaries of others. It's a two-way street. If you feel you can't say no to others, you might not understand or value when others say no to you. It's crucial to understand that no is a complete sentence. It doesn't require an explanation or an apology. When someone tells you no, the most respectful thing you can do is accept it gracefully. You can say, "Okay, thanks for letting me know," or "I understand. Maybe another time." This shows that you respect their decision and their autonomy. It builds trust and makes them feel safe around you. Third, you tend to overshare personal information, both yours and others. Do you find yourself telling very personal stories to people you've just met? Or worse, do you share private information that a friend confided in you with other people, perhaps under the guise of just venting or getting a second opinion? This is a significant boundary violation. When it comes to your own information, oversharing can make others feel uncomfortable. They might not be ready for that level of intimacy in the relationship, and it puts them in an awkward position. It creates a false sense of closeness and can put pressure on them to share more than they are comfortable with in return. Sharing someone else's private information is an even more serious breach of trust. When a friend tells you something in confidence, they are trusting you to keep that information safe. Sharing it with others, no matter the reason, breaks that trust. It shows that you don't value their privacy or the sacredness of the information they shared with you. This can be incredibly damaging to a friendship. It makes the person feel exposed and betrayed. It's like you've taken a part of their personal life and made it public without their consent. Before you share something, ask yourself, is this my story to tell? Did they give me explicit permission to share this? How would I feel if someone shared this about me? Respecting confidentiality is a cornerstone of any healthy relationship. It's about creating a safe container where people feel they can be vulnerable without fear of their private life becoming public knowledge. Fourth, you frequently interrupt people when they're speaking. Are you often so excited to share your own thought that you cut someone off mid-sentence? Maybe you think you know what they're going to say, so you finish their sentence for them. Or perhaps a thought pops into your head, and you feel an urgent need to say it right away, before you forget. While occasional interruptions happen in enthusiastic conversations, frequent interrupting is a sign of disrespect. It communicates that what you have to say is more important than what they are saying. It can make the other person feel invalidated and dismissed. They might start to feel that their opinions and stories don't matter to you. Over time, they may simply stop trying to share things with you altogether. Scientific studies on conversation dynamics show that turn-taking is a fundamental rule of social interaction. When this rule is consistently broken, the flow of communication is disrupted, and it can lead to frustration and resentment. A surprising fact is that chronic interrupters often have a high level of anxiety or a fear of not being heard. The urgency to speak comes from a place of insecurity, not necessarily arrogance. To combat this, practice mindful listening. When someone is talking, make a conscious effort to focus solely on their words. Wait for a natural pause in the conversation before you speak. If you do interrupt by accident, which we all do sometimes, simply apologize. Say, "I'm so sorry, I interrupted you. Please continue what you were saying." This small act shows self-awareness and respect for the other person. Fifth, you make plans or decisions for others without asking them first. Do you ever sign a friend up for an activity because you just know they'll love it? Or maybe you make a big decision that affects your partner or family without consulting them, assuming they'll be on board with your plan. This might seem helpful or efficient, but it's a major boundary cross. It strips the other person of their autonomy, their right to choose for themselves. Even if your intentions are good, you are making a choice on their behalf. You're assuming you know what's best for them, what they want, or what they have time for. This can lead to feelings of resentment and being controlled. People need to feel like they are in charge of their own lives, their own schedules, and their own commitments. Imagine someone signed you up for a marathon training program without asking. Even if you like running, you'd probably feel a bit resentful that the choice wasn't yours to make. Instead of making decisions for others, involve them in the process. Use collaborative language. Say, "I saw this cool event, and it made me think of you. Would you be interested in going together?" Or, for bigger decisions, "I've been thinking about this. What are your thoughts on it? How can we decide this together?" This approach shows that you see them as an equal partner in the relationship. It respects their right to have a say in matters that affect them and fosters a sense of teamwork and mutual respect. Recognizing these signs in yourself isn't about feeling guilty or ashamed. It's about self-awareness and growth. We all have blind spots, and we've all likely pushed a boundary at some point in our lives. The important thing is to be willing to look at our own behavior, understand its impact on others, and make a conscious effort to change. Learning to respect boundaries, both our own and those of others, is one of the most powerful skills we can develop. It leads to deeper trust, healthier communication, and more fulfilling connections with the people around us. It's a journey of learning to listen more, assume less, and honor the individuality of everyone we interact with. Did any of these signs resonate with you? For more insights on building healthier relationships, subscribe to Sex Education Repo.